Hey everybody, and welcome to SendJim University. I'm Josh Latimer, the co-founder of SendJim, and we're excited to put together this deep, high-level training course for you to crush it using SendJim. But really, it goes beyond that. These techniques and principles and tips that I'm going to share with you in this course are going to help you crush it in all areas of your business, even with things outside of SendJim. Now, if you don't know my story, it all started about 10 years ago. I started a cleaning business in Michigan. I had no money, a pregnant wife, and I jumped headfirst into the business world, really not knowing what I was doing. After a couple years of struggle, I started to figure some things out. That little business ended up growing to where it was doing almost $200,000 a month in revenue, and I sold it. But one of the biggest reasons we had such massive growth and success was through a couple different concepts. The first one is relationship marketing. The second one was the way that we personalized all the other types of marketing that we did. That's how SendJim was originally born. Multi-touch. You may have heard the phrase multi-touch marketing, and it's very important. And I want to break it down for you in regards to SendJim, Radius Bomb, or any type of marketing that you're going to do in your business. You see, I remember when I asked my wife to go on our first date, that was my first touch, right? I walked up to her locker and I slammed my arm on the locker and I said, hey, how you doing, kind of thing, right? But it took a lot more effort than just that first touch to really win her over to be my girlfriend and then my wife, right? And the same is true with business. It's very important, especially now more than ever in today's age where we're saturated and inundated with non-stop marketing and advertising. And for your local small business, you need to have a simple strategy where you can touch your customers multiple times to really pierce their subconscious and make sure that they're really receiving your message. So make sure when you set up a sequence that you do 3 or 4 or 5 touches or whatever's appropriate for your business. It makes a huge, huge difference, and luckily SendJim makes that very easy to do. Another component of multi-touch is that you might want to diversify how you're touching or reaching your customers. Maybe it's a postcard to start. Maybe it's an unexpected gift, and then maybe it's a letter or an email. However you design your sequences to grow your business, make sure that you're not making the mistake of a single touch when you do your marketing, and instead use multi-touch. I want to talk about money. I want to talk about how much we spend and how much we make, also known as return on investment. So direct mail, if you do it wrong especially, it can be expensive, right? So how do we figure out the appropriate amount to spend on a campaign? How many dollars should you put into your 5-round campaign? Well, it depends. Every business is a little bit different, but I want to teach you some principles to help you understand the math and the mechanics behind figuring out what is a smart move for you in regards to the amount of money that you spend. And it starts with understanding the lifetime value of a client. Now, a lot of people are short-sighted, and they don't do it on purpose, but they might spend $100 on some marketing thing locally. And then they get a job, and let's say the job is only $100. And so they're not excited about it. Or maybe they only got $80 job off their $100 spent. And so they're done, they're over it, right? And that's really the wrong way to look at it. Because for most of us, especially in the service industry, the lifetime value of a client is about 8 to 10 times the initial transaction amount. That's from the United States Labor Department. And I just know it's true in my own life, right? Because we do that first job for $500, then we do it again later in the year, then they give us a referral, then we upsell them an additional service, then we do the job year after year after year after year after year, and that $500 is really $5,000. And so understand the lifetime value of your particular type of service. So in the past, when people would do 5-round in neighborhood marketing, they had to do it manually. You had to do boots on the ground. And hey, I've done a lot of boots on the ground in my life. I have a lot of respect for boots on the ground. But now there's a better way. Right? Now there's a better way. Through SendJim and through the technology that we have, it allows you to do multi-touch marketing when you're doing your 5-rounds. Now, here's why this is a big deal. Let's say that you're in a neighborhood and you have your crew target all the neighbors. You know, they put a flyer on all the doors or whatever. That's great. That's awesome. Like, good job. Like, most companies don't even do that. But here's the problem, is that after you've done that, you've initially just done one touch. You've contacted and solicited and marketed to those homes, which is great because they're the perfect homes, but you've only touched them one time. And not only does studies show, but common sense shows, especially in today's crazy world where we're all marketed to nonstop, that you got to get in front of people multiple times to get the highest response rate. You have to get in front of them multiple touches, as we call it, to get the biggest yield, the biggest return on your investment. Do you want to be a nightmare to compete with? I love that phrase. I love that phrase. I remember when I first thought of it and I was writing my blog called Be a Nightmare to Compete With. Well, one of the ways you can do that is through saturation. Saturation. You're going to dominate and take over the world, right? Well, at least you should hopefully take over your community in your industry, right? You should be the go-to place. And 5-around and neighborhood marketing can be a cornerstone for you to use saturation to your advantage. So what you want to understand is that SendJim, postcards, direct mail, those are a single channel for marketing. And they're a good channel, but they're not the only channel. And if you really want to get sophisticated and take it to the next level and really dominate and see your response rates spike even more, what you want to do is learn how to saturate an area. And the way that you do that is very, very simple. It's through multiple different channels. So your local newspaper, that's a channel. I'm not saying that's a good advertising choice, but it is a channel. Radio is a channel. Don't do radio advertising, but it does work for some, not usually for people I work with. And then you have direct mail, you have Facebook, you have yard signs, you have door knocking, you have all kinds of different things, right? All these things are channels, they're all available to you. So what you want to do when you figure out your saturation strategy is you want to take your 5-around, okay, you already got a good customer life cycle, your customer loves you, you got the social proof, you're targeting the neighbors, you're being consistent, you're hitting them multiple touches with the postcards, there's a real price on it, it's personalized, the copy's good, right? Can you see the momentum we're creating? And now on top of this, which is already amazing, it's already you're in the 99th percentile or whatever, is it the first percentile? I can't remember, but you're elite already. But we're not done. Now we're going to take geo-targeted Facebook ads and target this entire region, right? And we're going to time all of these sequences to be at the right time of year, and we're going to blanket this neighborhood with yard signs at the entryways and the exits of all the streets that pour into this exclusive neighborhood, right? Can you see what I'm saying? Can you hear where I'm going with this? The idea of saturation might sound overwhelming. It's really not. It's 2 or 3 different channels all targeted at the same place for the same window of time. That is how you become a nightmare to compete with.